All right. So hopefully this is recording well this time. Okay. So this is my Evernote. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the basics for anyone who's not familiar with Evernote, hasn't used it, hasn't really had the opportunity to kind of play around with it a little bit. And then I'll go into some of the more advanced tips and tricks, kind of power user things that you can do, show the different options, and tell you a little bit about how I use it. So, what is Evernote? We'll get started with that. Evernote, I think of Evernote as being kind of a supercharged filing cabinet because it can hold everything from documents, photos, videos, PDFs, voice recordings, web URLs, etc. And one of the great things about Evernote is you can dump things in from all over, from your hard drive, from the web, from your smartphone, and you can actually find things again really, really easily because it's got an incredibly powerful search function. So, with that being said, the basics are, if you look over here on the side, we have notebooks. You'll see there's notes and then notebooks. So these are notes right here. Each one of these, and if I click on it, you'll see this is a note that I just copied from Facebook. This is what I used when we were doing the chat, a little note that I made with a photo and some annotating. This is a sample note. I'll go through that and show you all the different things that you can do. And then notes live inside notebooks. And if you think of notebooks like file folders, so I have, as you can see, a few notebooks, not a tremendous number. And the reason for that is I tend to use tags to kind of sort and categorize my notes because an item can have multiple tags but can only be in one notebook at a time. I mean, if you think about it, even as a piece of paper, it can only be in one file folder at once. So I keep the notebooks pretty simple, and then I use a lot of tags. You can see down here I have a ton of tags. So if you click on the notebook, so this is where we started, right? And we're back here, and you can see the note list on the side here. Now you can change this view if you like. So let's see, these are the different views. So I have it as side list view. You can put it as a snippet view where it'll give you a little snippet of each thing. That just confuses me, but some people really like that. You can do a card view. So you're seeing a little bit more of each thing, but you can see fewer things on the screen. And you can play around with this as you like. I like to keep it on side list view. You can also, of course, resize these, just like with most. Okay, so this is Evernote for Mac, by the way. I'm using this on a Mac. This is a desktop version on the Mac operating system. It's also available in a desktop version for Windows. The Windows version and the Mac version are very similar. So if you've got the PC version and you're working on a PC, don't worry. You won't have any problem switching back and forth. There's a couple of minor little differences in how you do things, but nothing that is going to really be, a deal breaker for you. It's also available for iOS, so you can have it on your smartphone. It's available for Android, so if you've got an Android phone, it works great on there. It's available in a web browser. So you can really access your information from almost anywhere. All right, where were we? Okay, so these are notes, and you can see this is just there's different things. I threw some of these in here for you to make it easy to see. And then these are notebooks, and if you click on notebooks, this is how you would create a new notebook. So you would click new, give it a name, and there you go. Right? And it'll show up over here. Now, if you have a lot of notebooks and you can stack them. So if you go into this view and you grab one and you drop it on top of another one, it'll create a stack. And now you can see over here, we've now got this stack. and it's got the 2 notebooks in it. And I'm going to expand it, and I'm going to get rid of this one because I don't need it. Delete. And we're going to grab this and we're going to move it out of the stack because I don't want to stack. Okay, there we are. Now, one of the first things that you want to do when you first set up your notebooks is you want to decide which is going to be your default notebook. And I recommend something like, you can see here I have one called Collect, and the reason that the exclamation points are at the very front of that is that pushes it up, so it's always the top thing on the list, regardless of what alphabetical order, because otherwise they go in alphabetical order and active would be up front. Collect is always up front. You can have it say inbox, you can have it say whatever you like, but something so that if you're in a hurry and you're just tossing something in Evernote from, say, the web or from your phone, that you know it's going to automatically go to that notebook and you don't have to go searching around for it later. So the way that you do that is you just click on this little gear icon here, and you can see this is my default notebook, but you would just check that. Now the only other option on here is synchronized or local notebook. So once you've created the notebook, they automatically are going to create as synchronized notebooks, which means they'll sync between all your different devices and the web. If you create it as a local notebook for whatever reason, then that one's not going to sync, and you just need to know that once you create it that way, you can't change it after the fact. Okay, so just choose what you want your default notebook to be, and know that when in doubt, things are going to go to that notebook if you don't specify something different. Alrighty, so moving on. So you can see you can create as many as you want, or you can stack them on top of each other, you can keep them separate. And this is the trash, and you can see I've got almost 1,400 notes in my trash, and I never empty it because, well, I have this horrible feeling that the minute I empty it, I'm going to realize there's something in there I needed. So the nice thing about Evernote is that you have unlimited storage. The only limit, the monthly limit, is on your bandwidth for upload. So it's just new things that are being uploaded to the server that count against your bandwidth, against your monthly limits. And I'll be honest, I have the premium, which is 10 gigabytes, and I've never come anywhere near it, like anywhere even close. But you can continue to leave these here forever, and it doesn't make a difference. All right. So now if we go back into Collect, go back into my notebooks. Okay, so that's kind of the basic gist of notebooks and how they work. And so now if we start looking at some of the notes, now there are so many different ways that you can create a note or different types of notes in Evernote. So this would be an example here of a note that was actually created in Evernote. And you can see here, so we gave it a title, and let me just quickly show you. The way to do this is to just click Create New Note, and I happen to be in the Collect notebook, so it's going to be Create New Note and Collect. And you can give it a title. This is a new note. Okay, and then you can just go from there. Okay, but let's go back to here. Okay. Let's open this up. There we are. Okay, so this is an example of a note in Evernote, and you can type directly in, and as you can see, you can edit the font, you can edit the size, you can apply styles, highlights, all kinds of different things. You can drag pictures, directly in, and once you've dragged them in, you can resize them just by clicking on them and grabbing the corner. You can adjust the size. Okay, you can add checklists, which is nice if you want to make either a to-do list or a grocery list or something like that. You select the checklist option up here, and then this is a table, which is really kind of neat. You can see here I made this table, and then each cell can contain either text or a picture, whatever you like. So you would just drag and drop the pictures into each cell and text. So I kind of made like a little mini brand board here. It's a bad brand board, but you get the idea. You can even select the colors directly from the photos. I'll show you a little bit later on when we get into some of the premium options how I did that. But so there's a number of different, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do with it. The way to create a table, by the way, is with this little icon up here. And what's nice is when you click on it, it gives you can decide how big you want it. Do you want it to be long and narrow, how many cells you want, and then you just click and it'll insert the table. So I thought that was really kind of neat. And table properties, you can decide if you wanted to have a border, if you want a background color in the cells. So I thought that was kind of great. All right, so that's a basic note in Evernote. Now, once you have your notes, what do you do with them? And you can, up here, this is what I find to be the easiest way to deal with moving notes from one work notebook to another and adding tags. So these are your notebooks, so you can move it. Any notebook that you have is going to show up here in this drop-down list. Move it to temporary, click move. Now you can see it disappeared from collect, but if we go over here to temporary, there it is, right? We're going to move that back to collect, just so I don't lose track. Okay, and you can add tags. So I tagged it with BTBY. Now, you can add an existing tag. So let's say branding, right, is a tag that I have. Just add a tag. You can create a whole new tag. New one. It doesn't exist yet, but if I click enter, it makes it. Now it's a new one. So one of the things that I find helpful, though, is to just try and keep your tags and your notebook, keep the formatting the same on all of them. So, don't do some in capitals and some in lowercase, because later on when you start emailing things in and doing some of the more advanced, options, it helps to know exactly what your standard was, because some things are case specific. All right, so we're going to delete new one. We don't need that. But you can see you can have as many different tags as you want. Let's see. So, okay. So that really covers notebooks and tags and creating notes in Evernote, which is great. But the notes that you create within Evernote are only a portion of what, at least in my experience, ends up being in there. For me, the most powerful part of Evernote are all of the things that I can kind of dump in there from all over the rest of my kind of digital environment, so to speak. So the first thing that I wanted to show you was how to email into Evernote. Now, emailing in is a plus feature. So you do need to be subscribed to either the Plus or the Premium version. So it's either $24.99 a year, I believe, or $49.99 a year for the Premium. Either one of those will give you, and when you subscribe to that, you'll see in your account settings, there will be an Evernote email address. You'll get a special email address. And what I did, and I've set up an email here to just show you, created a new email. And I just entered it as a contact in my address book. So now if I just type in Evernote, right? I just start typing and it pops up and there's my Evernote email address. And I can type in whatever I want. This is how you forward email to Evernote. And I do think it's one of the best features of the paid versions. It allows me to really keep my inbox so much more under control. Now, what you can do is you can tell it right here before you even forward the email. So normally it wouldn't be an email that I created myself that I was forwarding in there. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be an email. For example, all of the BTBY emails that Kimra sends, automatically I'm forwarding to Evernote and I'm tagging them with BTBY, and I know that they're all going to be in there, and if I have any questions or I wonder about anything, I can just do a search for that and pull them all right back up. So the way that you determine which notebook, it will either automatically go into your default notebook. Remember, we went back, we set the default notebook, or you can specify a notebook. So in this case, for example, let's put it in, let's see, what's a good notebook to put it in? Let's put it in reference. So you specify the notebook with the @ sign. So you tell it @reference. Now if you want it to have tags, you just use the hashtag BTBY, and let's also do hashtag branding. Sorry, forgot which my tags were for a moment there. Okay, so now I'm gonna, oh, and one more thing, while I still have this open, even though I haven't covered it yet, Evernote also allows you to set reminders. So you can set a reminder for a note and it will send you an email that morning with a link to the note on whatever day you choose. So if you wanted to set a reminder, let's say I knew that I wanted this to come back on Sunday the 6th when BTBY started, you do that with the exclamation point, and then you can either put, for example, tomorrow, because that'll work now, or you can put the actual date. The dating format for Evernote is year/month/day. So it would be, for example, if we were going to do it, it would be 2016/03/06. And let's see if I got this all right. There's spaces, it looks right. Now we'll see how that works, see if I did it right. Cannot send message. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. It's a new one. And you can see, pardon me, I'm so sorry. You can see there it went. Okay. We're going to close mail. Now if we go back into Evernote. It's a terrible picture of me, but okay. And we sync. Got to give it a minute. Sometimes it may take a minute or two to get there. And then if we go into, what did I say we put it in? We put it in reference, right? Here we go. Email forwarding to Evernote. Hashtag branding. Now, I don't know why branding didn't go. You can see the BTBY tag worked. For some reason, it didn't take the branding tag. Okay, but it has a reminder for tomorrow. You can see here. So tomorrow, I'm going to get an email in the morning that is going to send me the link right to this Evernote. Well, I would, except I'm going to delete it. There we go. Okay, so that's one way you can get it in, is to email it. Now, if you don't put the @ sign with the folder and you don't put the hashtags or anything like that, it'll just go into your default folder, and you can do that too. If you want to just plow through your email inbox and say, yeah, read that later, read that later, read that later, you could forward everything to Evernote and throw it all in your default folder. And for me, for example, that's collect, and then I can come back to that later and I can sort through and put them in whatever notebook I want. But for the most part, I try and kind of just sort things as I go, because why pile up more work to do later? All right, so that's one way to get things in. Another way to get things in is with the web clipper. So let's go to Safari. This is the coming soon page for my website. I won't tell you how many times I've reset this counter, but yeah. And you can see here we have the little elephant here, and this is called the Evernote Web Clipper. And you can download this. If you just do a Google search for Evernote Web Clipper, it will come right up. They have one for all the different, it works on Safari, Chrome, Internet Explorer, I presume Firefox, although I haven't used it in Firefox, but I'm sure it does. So you can clip to Evernote, and now you'll see over here, it'll ask you, what do you want to save? Do you want to save the article? Simplified article is something new, and for me, at least in Safari, it tends to still be a little glitchy. It kind of scrambles things up and doesn't work very well for me. Full page, you can do just a bookmark if you just want the link to the URL. I learned the hard way with a recipe once, though, when I went back and she had taken it down, that unless there's a particular reason that you just want the link, for example, it's a video, videos won't embed into Evernote. In that case, you want to save the link. But if it's anything other than a video, I really recommend either take the full page or take the article. Article normally on a normal page, and I'll go to one and show you, will basically just try and cut out, like for example, if you're reading a blog post and there's like sidebars and all different things, it tries to cut out as much of that as possible for you and just give you what it presumes you actually want. It does a pretty good job, except in Facebook. Does not do a good job at Facebook. It always takes the wrong thing. But I'll show you how to work around that too. So, or you can do a screenshot. And that's how you work around it, by the way, in Facebook. If you're clipping something in Facebook, do it as a screenshot, and it'll give you the little crosshairs, and you can, here, we'll do it here, right? So click to capture full screen or drag and release. So you can just kind of drag what you want, boom, and it's going to capture it. Now, you can annotate it right here. And again, I think this is a premium or a plus version. But you can scribble something on here right here if you wanted to. You can tell it where you want it to go. You can see it defaults to collect. So if I didn't want to bother with any of this, I could just click save, boom, done. But if I wanted to, I could say, no, I don't want this to go to collect. I want this to go, to a different notebook. I can add a tag. I can add a remark. So I can note down here and say, this chick has reset the timer 3 times already. Don't tell anyone. All right. So here, so we can annotate. Okay. Now we click save, and it's going to sync. Now, after it syncs, you can set a reminder. So if you wait just a minute, if you need to set a reminder for something in here, now I can click on here and I can add a date and tell it to remind me, on the 8th. Doesn't let you, oh, it does let you specify a time. Huh, look at that. Learn something new all the time. Okay. All right. So here, let's go to, for example, lifehacker.com. Not loofhacker. Okay, yeah, I can't type. Sorry about that. Lifehacker.com. There we go. Now, we need a video to show how to deep fry like a pro. Okay. So now if we wanted to clip this, let's see if this is going to work or if I picked a bad one. And we click the article. Yeah, you can see. Okay, so see how it's eliminated all of this kind of sidebar stuff and it's automatically selected just the article. Okay, and you change that with the options here. So you can tell it that when you use the web clipper, always default to collect. Smart filing, I tend to leave turned off. I see it's turned on here again. It tends to want to do that because I don't expect Evernote to know how I want to tag things. It's smart. I'm not sure it's that smart. So you can, you can set your preferences in here. All right, we're going to cancel that. We're going to close out of here. We're going to go back into Evernote. Hit refresh. Here we go. And you can see, and here's this chick has reset the timer. Okay, so that's how you grab things from the web. Okay, so that's kind of the basics. That's how you create notebooks, create notes, and put notes into Evernote from the web, from email. Now there are a ton more things that you can do, but I think what I will do is save those for another video. In the meantime, I want to show you I just want to point out that for all of the organizational options that you have over here, where you can sort things into notebooks, you can tag them, and all those are great. This search feature in Evernote is so good, especially in either of the paid versions. It will search not only to the titles, but it'll search within documents. It will search within photos. So for example, if I do a search here, let's go to reference, right? And then let's do a search for the word want, because I know that's in there, right? And look what comes up, because it recognizes that the word want is in this photo, even though that's not technically text. That was a screen grab, and that's actually a photo. It will also search, unless you write like a doctor, it will search handwriting. So I take snapshots with my phone. The Evernote app for iOS, and I'm pretty sure Android too, one of the options is to grab a photo right from within Evernote. And so I will, a lot of times I'll take a snapshot of a handwritten note, because I know I can always find it later. It'll search. I use a paper planner. I take screenshots, I take snapshots of my planner pages a lot. We use big whiteboards at work for things, so I'll take a screenshot of the whiteboard, knowing that all of that handwriting, everything that's on there is going into Evernote, and it's going to be searchable. So that's really, to me, that is the kind of the most powerful part about it. So it's really nice to go ahead and organize things, and I'm not necessarily advocating having one notebook with 3,000 notes in it, but in theory you actually could, as long as you had some idea what to search for. That would make me a little bit crazy, though, I have to say. I like things neatly categorized. Okay, so those are the basics. And what I will do is I'll do a couple of short videos showing some of the other kind of tips and tricks, things that are really helpful. I will make one in the next few days showing how to use IFTTT, which is another app that you can use, and you can have your certain emails automatically get forwarded to Evernote and tagged and filed in the right notebook. So for example, you could set it up so that all of the emails that come from Kimra from BTBY would all automatically get filed in Evernote for you, tagged with BTBY, set up in whatever Evernote you like. I'll also do one and show how I use the annotations to create a little mini brand board, if anyone is interested in seeing that. And I will do one on, what was the other thing? Well, there is a presentation mode as well. I'm not super familiar with it, but even with the free version, you can get a 30-day trial of that. And I've heard a few people say that they were interested in using that to do slides for webinars. I looked at it earlier, and it looks as though that might work out really nicely. And I'll show some other kind of neat tricks. You can create table of contents and note links to share into other apps and things. So I'll do a bunch of like short 5-minute videos and post them up as I go. In the meantime, I hope this has helped you with the basics and to get started. And absolutely, if you have any questions, post in the comments below this link, and I will try to answer them as soon as I can. Thanks so much. Have a great day.